What about this checked off?
Who's the actor? Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro. I've only really seen Goodfellas. That's a really good movie.
It's like a brutal movie.
It's a great movie.
Oh my God, I'm muted. I just said, speaking of good fellas, us fellas are going to review Sound of Metal today. Gerardo, take it away.
Still on mute. I couldn't hear
I
you.
had a thing ready. I was going to say, speaking of crippling silence, but you know. And you were muted.
Crippling? You can't.
Oh, I didn't even think about it like that. Oh, no. Okay, now I can't use that one. I didn't think of it like that.
No, you
God,
cannot.
This is why they got to be. This is why it's recorded. Speaking of being canceled,
Embarrassing moments.
welcome to the Real Stupid Review Show. Here with Eddie, Nick, Izzy, Cody, and we're here for the mini review of The Sound of Metal, the movie that is a Oscar contender, a contender for a lot of awards. Maybe well deserved, maybe not. We're here to discuss that with our reviews.
The world can be a damn cruel place.
I'm trying to save my life.
I wonder, have you had any moments of stillness? For me, those moments, that place, will never abandon you.
But I love this movie a lot for a lot of different reasons. A lot of the subject matter that they talked about, I have it on my whiteboard. It talks about acceptance. It talks about toxic relationships, codependency, addiction, and denial. It talks about quite a few things, but one of the things that really got to me personally is just like going deaf out of the entire aging process. That's the one thing that I'm the most fearful of, and I understand that it's a very short-sighted thing of me to say, but it's a fear. It's a lot of processing that you have to really go through all at once and in like quick succession, or else you start falling behind crazily. I'm so sorry about the noise, by the way, guys.
You know what? If there was ever a time for gratuitous background noise, it's during this review.
But before I give my review and before I say anything else, after all these wonderful things that I've said about this movie, I got to talk about the most unsung hero, the taxi driver. The taxi driver at the scene where you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, where there's that like really, really awkward interaction, and then they're really going at it, and this taxi driver, man, nothing phases him.
Probably not the worst thing he saw today, you know?
And I'm sure he had a fantastic conversation with her. And if not, then he sat together with her in complete silence. 5 out of 5.
So speaking of sounds of metal, Eddie, the music to the beginning sets you into a sense of lull, and then you get thrust into this scenario. And Riz Ahmed, I mean, I've always seen him in supporting roles in like Star Wars, and I've never really pegged him as an actor of interest until this movie. I was very, very blown away. The story really gives you a feel of the journey, allowing you to empathize through his senses. I can only imagine having something like that happen, especially in the midst of, hey, I'm doing tour. Hey, I'm recovering drug addict. Hey, I'm dealing with all these situations that are unsaid around me, and then being thrust in this true test. Like, you felt everything that he felt, and you went through the journey with him. I feel like that is movie making gold. I loved sitting at the table with these hearing incapable people and being able to experience it through Ruben's eyes and being able to adapt with him along this journey. I was very impressed with that. Every single time he went through denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance, it was just, you felt it throughout the way, and you didn't really mind what was going to be the end all to be all. You just wanted to see where it was going. You just wanted to be along for the journey. And I definitely appreciated it for that. Very surprising. Definitely recommend it. 4 stars for the taste of my kind of movie.
For me, I think that this is a movie that needs to be talked about in sort of two parts, basically writing and execution. From the writing standpoint, you have this person going through, like Eddie said, very like terrifying scenarios. The steps that he makes, like Nick said, the grief, the irrational choices, the rational choices, the emotion, the longing, all of these things. It's all very well crafted to pace out this movie very, very well, to where you get these moments of literal silence, but you also get these moments of almost narrative silence. And from an execution standpoint, this is a movie about sound, and the sound design in this movie is incredible. They put a lot of work into making sure this is right. Riz Ahmed did a lot to sort of enhance that. He learned to play the drums. He learned sign language. He wore sound blockers in his ears that emitted a white noise, so he couldn't even hear his own voice. I do also want to shout out the use of subtitles. The subtitles for the sign language were not there until Ruben learned sign language.
Yeah, that was really
and
cool.
then you see subtitles for when other people are doing it. You have so much that grounds you in reality and shows every aspect of almost the monotony of what it must be like to lose your hearing. I feel like I have the tiniest sliver of an idea of what that experience might be like. And that's some good fucking filmmaking. 5 out of 5.
You know, a movie is good when it develops a new phobia in your brain, and this is definitely efficient in that regard, where it seems so stupid to even say that. It's like, yeah, what person isn't afraid of losing their hearing? But it's just such a natural part where, considering that to be a reality, especially being a musician, being such a crucial part of his life. I think, Nick, what you were saying, where it's like these stages of grief, where it's like denial, acceptance. Oh yeah, we can make it work. It'll be like a click track. We can just keep touring. It's a lot of money. We just get the money. We'll figure it out. And just full on like, oh no, like this is just my reality. One part that I don't know, I'm still a little stuck on. I think this is more with me and my favorability for more conventional plot structures, but that kind of dynamic between them as a family played out a little bit better once that ended, and then it went back to his life with his girlfriend. By the time they went back to that, I was kind of over that beginning part of the movie, even though that is kind of the, her being the emotional rock for him. I wasn't as invested. I was more interested in him and the kids, and
I think that's the point. I think that the viewer is supposed to go through that because that's what he's going through.
Did you at all feel invested in the continuation of Ruben's and Lou's like reunification? Like, oh, like how will she handle
I was
that?
Very interested in how that was going to end after they got together. There was no.
I think we should have a discussion on this because I have a lot of thoughts on that as well.
Eddie feels the same way. There's more to say.
Can you guys?
All right, let me finish my piece. God, you sons of bitches. And then we got to scroll back to Izzy. What's wrong with you guys? If we started on time, maybe you could do a full review.
3 words in, but then you asked a follow-up question.
The one thing that Riz Ahmed said, he wanted people to go and learn ASL after watching the movie. And I'm like, yeah, it seems like such a reasonable thing to not know. And I'm like, the fact that it is bringing awareness, like that alone is worth, the recognition the film is getting. Again, the overall sound design, the performances, his ability to switch back between like, oh no, it's all good, and then just fucking smashing a donut twice, like smashing it, then bringing it back to then just to fucking pound it again. That's acting right there. It's phenomenal. So again, great film overall, but just the overall meaning and what it's doing, I think, to bring in awareness to this issue and the deep fear it's bringing into my soul. Because fuck silence, man. It's you gotta keep the noise, because otherwise the demons will get you. That makes it a 5 out of 5 for me.
You didn't like Silence? Scorsese, Andrew Garfield.
I never saw it, but it seemed a little too.
It was respectable.
When I saw the trailer for Silence, it was like the beginning of Tropic Thunder, where the fake trailer with Robert Downey Jr. and Tobey Maguire. It looked like that kind of vibe, so I never saw Silence.
As a musician who plays his instruments at least like 2 to 4 hours a day on his spare time, this definitely tackles one of the biggest fears I have always had, and not just in the sense of music, right? I think about sometimes I forget like the faces of people I haven't seen in a long time. And that doesn't drive me as crazy as when I start forgetting their voices. My memory's always been a fucking haze. This movie tackles someone going through that loss. And as Nick said, it goes through the stages of grief, the stages of loss, and like, I guess in this case, right? And you watch that develop and unfold in such a precise and like delicate manner, not overdone either. You know, there's no dramatic effect going on. It is what it is. It doesn't make it look worse or better than what it actually is. Riz Ahmed does a fantastic performance right from the start. You could tell what kind of person, what kind of character he is from the way he makes movies, from his little workouts, from his patience with his girlfriend around the beginning, waking her up. As like the story unfolds, you learn a bit more about his past, addictions, and all of this other stuff. And that's also never dramatized. You just learn it. You make a very intricate character with all of these little details that are just there. The whole movie is it's like a character study almost. No, like other people are there, but they are the embellishment to this guy's life. It's not the same, but a while ago I had a surgery on my eyes to have like lens implants because they had to take those out when I was a child. Like there would be moments when I was actually walking down the street and I'd start crying because I could actually see. You know, people don't really think about these things that they're just living and it's like normal. You know, oh yeah, some people have great vision and they don't think about what it's like to not have it. Yeah, you know, appreciate all the shit you can do on a daily basis. Your taste, your smell, your hearing. As a musician, you know, it's one of the if I was never able to hear like the resonance of a piano chord, I don't know, dude. Like hearing like I hear so much music a day, it's like ridiculous. I would fucking lose it. Yeah, but I love this movie. 4.5 out of 5.
Recommendations, y'all. Nick is first.
So I want to recommend two documentary movies that I just recently watched. Wrinkles the Clown, the movement that inspired the crazy clown sightings around the United States. It just shows the transition of people's joy of clowns to the transition of fear and you know, to segue into like, say, Pennywise, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's like our new culture around clowns is more fear. And the other one was another documentary, Hail Satan. I actually love the hell out of this movie. The satanic monuments versus the Ten Commandments, the whole situation with all the Jesus freaks like smashing their monuments and fighting them every step of the way. Definitely recommend both those flicks.
I've recently watched The Double Life of Veronique. What if in this world, at the same time you're born, someone else is born in another country or another place? And their ambitions, their dreams, and their being and the way they look are completely identical to yours. They're truly a mirror of yourself. That's what that's about. I realize this director who made this, Krzysztof Kieslowski, I have watched 5 of his movies this year unintentionally, and I think 3 of those 5 have been 5 out of 5 stars for me. I guess I'm just going to rep this director. So, Krzysztof Kieslowski, everything I've watched by him is gold.
Gotta represent the shirt, obviously. Go out and check out Critical Role. My 50th movie of my list of 100, Coco. I have been putting off watching Coco for a very long time for the sole reason that I knew that I was going to ugly cry, and I did. I did ugly cry for about 5 minutes. And the third one is check out the Twitch channel Woke. They post streams that people in those season states post, which is pretty cool. So there's a lot of real things that happen on there, and it's a lot of good stuff. Definitely, you know, don't bury your head in the sand, especially right now.
But I'm also gonna plug my favorite piece of D&D media. Then
The Weird
shout out
Travelers.
To the crew. Check out NADPod. They're fucking hilarious. What we do in the shadows. You may look it up and you may ask me,
Jokes, bro.
the movie or the show. The answer is yes. The movie is spectacular, just jam-packed full of jokes. The show, completely different cast. They keep some elements, they change some elements. A lot of the same people are involved. This isn't like overwriting it or the studio handing it off. It's a mockumentary about vampires living in Staten Island. The movie is a mockumentary about vampires living in New Zealand, I believe. It's so goddamn funny.
And this is a game called Loop Hero. It's a endless RPG. The game takes place in a randomly generated world where the players change the world by placing cards instead of directly controlling the character. And the main thing again is that I'm a lazy piece of shit, so I can have that in the tab, and then I could have Netflix on the other tab, and I'm fucking vibing over here. So Loop Hero, highly recommend it. My other one is a movie called 1BR. It is a horror movie about a gal who moves out to LA after having a fight with her father. She's able to find this cool apartment complex. Everything seems like it's going pretty good, and maybe a little too good. Things kind of take a turn with the people who live in the apartment and kind of their intentions as to why they let her live there in the first place. It's a genre film, but I thought the way they were able to layer on the levels of ridiculousness while still being keeping it very straight, I thought was fantastic. So 1BR, fantastic movie, and this was a fantastic review. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Izzy. And thank you, Nick. All right. And we'll see you guys real soon. Where are earplugs at concerts? Goodbye.
Each other is how we like say hello, good morning, ask someone to take out the trash, ask how your day was. Like, it's loud.
Izzy and I have talked about this, like how Spanish is sort of like a romantic language.
Depends who's speaking. If I speak Spanish, it sounds like a fucking jam printer. It's just atrocious. It's not sexy at all. Yeah.